welcome back to another episode of Over the Glass. I am your host, Jay.
And I'm Nessa. Today we have a familiar face. Third time on the podcast. Hi, Elena.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
So we brought Elena on today because we're going to have a little fun card game to play for the majority of the episode, but we wanted to just kind of go through and spread some queer joy across sports. And Seattle's got this whole thing going where I think all the sports teams in Seattle, they are promoting this website called Intentionalists for the month of Pride, and pretty much is a great resource for local queer-owned hashtags, spend like it matters, and supports LGBTQ owned businesses in your community. Explore featured businesses and share your favorites. It looks like it's not even just based in Seattle. I mean, just looking down the list, they've promoting a women-owned brewery, local brewing corporation in San Francisco. You know, they've got the sports bra in Portland, Oregon.
Isn't that the one that Amanda Kane was just, yeah.
Yeah, so our very own Sharks manager of photography is doing a collaboration with the sports bras. They're doing a gallery of photography, and I think it's her photography as well as other photographers. So it just seems like a really great resource that I think, you know, year round I would be looking at this, but, you know, in particular, if you're thinking of ways to kind of support the LGBTQ plus community during Pride Month, I think this is a great way to do it, to take a look at this resource. And kudos to the Seattle area and all those sports teams for using their platform to promote it.
Dang, Seattle has like 264 businesses in their area.
That
San
are queer
Francisco,
owned?
Wow. I don't know if it's specifically queer owned or like diverse.
But yeah, take a look at that link when you get a chance.
Yep.
And then I did see that Brittany Griner, I'm not sure when this took place. It might have been like after a game or something like that. But someone asked her her opinion, I guess, about trans people in sports. And, you know, she pretty much said that she feels like it's a crime to ban trans people from participating in sports. And the OL Reign recently had a auction for their signed t-shirts that say protect trans kids and has their logo on it. It's a partnership with Starbucks and also benefiting the Lavender Rights Project, which is elevating the power, autonomy, and leadership of Black, intersex, and gender diverse community through intersectional legal and social services in the Seattle, Washington area.
Dang, Seattle.
Go Seattle.
With the Bay Area getting the Bay FC, like, I'm a big Seattle Reign fan. So I hope we step up to the plate and do some incredible stuff, because Seattle Reign and Seattle as a whole are like just knocking it out of the park. And
didn't they just have an event with the teen trans and Luke Prokop and
that was the Seattle Pride event that they have every year. I think that's part of the Seattle Hockey Association. I'm gonna get it wrong just off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, Seattle has that. Like the Bay had their they had a tournament that was for trans and non-binary people. I think it was also in partnership with the San Francisco, what's the name of that hockey team?
The Earthquakes?
Is it the earthquake as
No,
well?
that's
San Francisco
that's
earthquakes?
soccer. Isn't it?
It's the
The
San
queer.
Francisco earthquakes, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I mean, Seattle, like, as a whole, it just really seems really good at just, like, coming together and, like, unifying their message. So, but I mean, we're pretty lucky here in the Bay Area. Like, one of the things that I'm going to bring up shortly is, well, I guess I need to talk about it now. We all know what happened with the LA Dodgers. They invited the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and then stupid people decided they didn't like that, so then the Dodgers pulled out of that, and then all of LA was like, fuck you, like, we're not coming. And then they were like, oh no, wait, sorry, my bad. And they had what it sounds like from clips I've seen from the sisters and statements that they've put out. They really feel like the Dodgers are trying to right their wrongs.
Oh, yeah.
And they're continuing to have a conversation with the sisters chapter down in LA, LA Pride, and other organizations that are quite prominent in that area. But if you didn't see the other day when the Dodgers had their Pride Night, there was a big protest outside of the
Dodger
the
Stadium.
stadium, and a lot of hateful people that, like I was telling Nessa right before you hopped on, that I really wish the Dodgers would have done a better job of showcasing their Pride Night. Not to just, like, to someone who didn't go to that event, I have no idea what happened. You know, the positive stuff that happened. Like, you read about who they were inviting and, like, all this stuff, but then their socials, they're just, here's the game. Cool.
Yeah.
What's happening? And when you try to search for it, maybe like someone at the game was maybe posting on Twitter, like, and stuff, like, I wasn't really able to find anything, and most of what you would search for if you try to search for the Dodgers was the negative stuff that was happening. And the articles that were put out, like, I understand you've got to make some kind of attention-grabbing title, but it's like what we had to deal with the Sharks when Reimer decided to be a dumbass, and that was what everybody was posting about, like, Reimer this, Reimer that, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, like, exhausting.
It's not Reimer night, it's Pride night.
Yeah.
it seems like that has been a constant this last year. It was every Pride night. We were all waiting for that player who was gonna spoil everything. And it's only the negative you write about, yeah.
Yeah, but like, even with the Giants, I don't think they posted too much about what they did for Pride Night, other than they had I forget which drag queen do the opening pitch.
Maybe they are just scared of being attacked. We have seen online on Twitter what's happening now with all those blue chicks who got priority, and you only see the best things. It's
yeah, but like,
terrifying.
Baseball is a pretty conservative sport, so
I don't know anything about baseball.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the socials weren't a bit more festive about it, but I did want to highlight the fact that the Giants brought their Pride uniforms to the Dodgers Pride Night.
Oh, that's nice.
yeah.
And
So
what
both teams were wearing the patches.
Oh, that's it.
So both teams were wearing the hat. The Dodgers don't have a patch.
Oh,
Oh,
so the Giants are better. So.
The Giants have their hat with the rainbow colors, and then they also have a patch, which otherwise would just be like their regular San Francisco Giants patch on their sleeve. And, like, I know everyone has their opinions about these Pride Nights and stuff, and obviously this is not like we haven't arrived, you know, there's still so much more, but I feel in particular in comparison to hockey, which has so much further to go as far as just this in itself, I love that the Pride uniforms are worn for the entirety of the game.
Oh, yes. Yes. But I think that's only hockey who take them off. I'm pretty sure it's only the NHL, because other leagues I've seen and other countries, they always keep the jerseys on for the whole of the game. It's only
I don't
the
know if
NHL.
the NBA even holds Pride Nights. I haven't heard of that.
I don't know either. But when you see here teams with Pride Nights in Europe, they keep the jersey or wherever they have on for the whole of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then finally, we have Mark Canha of the New York Mets, who is he's my new favorite outspoken ally.
He's a former Oakland A.
He's also born and raised in San Jose.
Yeah.
So he said in an article, let me pull up that article. So he said, coming from where I came from in the Bay Area, in particular, Cal Berkeley, where I went to school, the professional baseball locker room was a culture shock. It is so much different than what I'm used to. It was a wake-up call. Where I come from, you would be a minority if you weren't an ally to the LGBTQ plus community. So I was working under the assumption that young people in their 20s and 30s are all on that side, but then you get here and you quickly realize, oh, okay, that's not the case. So, boom, Mark Canha, you are awesome. I mean, he puts stuff out on his socials. He wears stuff that pretty much is like, I support this community. And then for the Mets Pride Night, they have, and I wish hockey would do this. I felt like they were on the cusp of it and then they retracted. But they have songs that can be played when the players come out to bat. And Mark Canha changed his playlist to a medley of You Need to Calm Down, Born This Way, Vogue, I'm Coming Out, and I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Nice.
So, round of applause to Mark Canha.
He was a big Sharks supporter too, when he was with the A's.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
Yes, because I followed Brody more.
Well, he better still be. I know it's hard right now. I know it's hard times right now, but
don't know what you're talking about.
We're in for a long ride, let's just say. And then finally, me being the resident Trekkie, the new season of Star Trek Strange Worlds came out this past Thursday. Marathon the whole first season again so I could get up to date and refresh my memory. And the first episode was worth the wait, and they added a new character, Chief J, who is played by a non-binary actor, Noah Lamana. Another queer actor and character in Star Trek.
Can I just point out that there are so many queer people that decide to go with the name J?
So that nickname was actually given to me. So I guess it's just fate.
I think it's a nice name.
It's so simple. It's
just,
J.
If you choose a name, choose a nice one. And I already have the one I was born with, and it's so boring.
Well, we'll give you a new nickname. We'll brainstorm up a new nickname.
Yes.
I'll call you L.
Okay.
Just kidding.
L.
Oh, 11.
Like 11 from Stranger Things.
I'm just watching the 4th season right now.
I have non-sports media related stuff, a couple of things. So I finally got to watch the new Spider-Man movie this past week. Pretty cool, loved it. I have my notes, but that's beside the point. Someone pointed out that during one of the scenes when you're following around Gwen in her universe, she has a trans flag above her door that says "Protect Trans Kids" or something like that. So shout out to the artist.
I've been seeing a lot of people talking about Gwen being trans or the whole not like saying canon, but I think that kind of puts two and two together with me with like why was that kind of trending because I haven't seen it.
I think the artist just really wanted to put something out with all the craziness going on in the world right now. That movie is made in Canada where there's a lot more allies, outspoken allies. So that happened. Secondly, there's a new movie coming out at the end of the month called Nimona. I forget which studio did that one, but it's coming out on Netflix June 30th, I believe. And I just watched the trailer the other day. It looks really cute. So it follows like a shapeshifter character, and she kind of teams up with like this knight character. I'm pretty sure it's based off of a graphic novel. So the knight character, who is also a main character, is gay, and they actually show like, you know, flashbacks of him talking to like his love interest or boyfriend, or I don't know who he is, but I don't know. That's more queer representation if you're interested, and that's all I have.
You want to put anything out into the world, Elena?
Last thing I watched on Netflix, apart from Stranger Things, was a Spanish miniseries. I think it's just 9 or 10 episodes, and it's called Smiley, and it's pretty nice. It's all about a queer bar in Barcelona, and the different people that meet there and their love lives. But it's really nice made. I really love watching it. It's very cute. There's a lesbian couple, a gay couple, and a drag queen, and a hetero couple also, because why not? And it's really pretty. It's good. I was hooked. I binge watched it in a day, actually. It's short episodes, like half an hour. Smiley is the name.
Smiley. Okay.
Go watch Smiley is what I'm hearing. Okay.
If you feel like.
So, shall we get going?
Sure. I don't know what we're getting into, but let's do it.
With the game.
Oh, yeah.
Curiosity. So pretty much a card game that I found that is from Canada. Pretty much has different categories and just gonna be very queer centric and fun, and we'll see what kind of answers we get.
Oh, also put out
Cheers.
a thing. Please don't drink if you're under 21. Thanks. I don't want to get in trouble. Whoever's listening or watching.
Over.
Okay, let's get started. So, most likely to start their own queer commune, that would be Elena. Yes. Do you agree, Nessa? Who's your choice for who's gonna start their own queer commune?
I feel let's go with Elena. I'm too reserved. Like, I'm not gonna seek out.
Drink if you've ever moved to a bigger city, at least partially because of your queerness.
No.
That speaks to privilege.
Yeah.
I haven't had to go anywhere, but
sorry.
Do you want to tell the folks where you moved to, Elena?
I moved to Madrid from a little Spanish town, very conservative, and I felt completely, I couldn't breathe. And I moved to Madrid, and things changed for the better. Yeah.
She got extra gay.
As you should.
I met first queer people in Madrid. Aww. Until I was 20. I knew people who were unsure, who were maybe playing, typical teenager things, but never openly out. People was in Madrid for the first time.
I think I was about 19 when I came to terms with my queerness.
Yeah.
I was 22.
Late bloomers here.
Okay. Drink if you've ever regretted breaking up with someone. Drink twice if you still do.
Elena's gonna get drunk.
I know. I hope you have a chaser with you.
That one's private.
Okay.
It's fine.
We will respect that. This versus that. Never wear a beanie again or never wear plaid again. I think I'm going with no plaid. And I'm not particular about plaid.
I think I'm gonna go
There's no
beanie.
way to choose. Yeah, beanie for me too.
I wear snapbacks more than beanies.
I'm pretty sure I wear my beanie more than anything plaid.
I wear plaid constantly. I don't know. I like it.
I don't think I will be heartbroken if I never wear another plaid thing. Okay. Most likely to be the other with an established couple.
Would you
Why
be a
not?
mistress?
Would I?
Elena.
No. But
I don't know. Like, I think I'd have to be in that situation to know. I've never been in that situation.
I don't know if I have that in me.
How do you feel about the way the LGBTQ plus community is currently portrayed in media? Oh, we just
Oh!
kind of talked about this earlier.
oh my god, in media, you said
Yeah.
media. Oh.
Needs work.
It's funny because it hasn't reached here. There's also the discussion. This is started in all this transphobia started in England somehow, and in Germany there's the discussion that, but to Spain it hasn't really arrived. Not that much. It's not so, or the press has a clear position pro trans rights and they don't. How do you say it? They don't promote transphobic posts or articles or things like that. I think it's really different than in the US right now.
Nessa, do you have something to contribute?
I was thinking more like movies and TV shows.
Is that media?
Yes.
That can. Oh, that is another thing. I was talking about news more like
No, that's fine.
In the media, which I guess could be either, depending on how you look at it, whether it's like news outlets being media or in like TV and movies. I mean, generally speaking, with the media, it's just dependent on which like platform you're following, which
yeah.
I mean, obviously that in itself, like if you're following media outlets that don't advocate for queer people, you're going to get a lot of like people saying to like be hateful, and obviously that's not good. But like in TV and movies, I think we're making much better progress than like shows that I remember watching when I was like a teenager, and like even the lack of like diversity with ethnicity, like you know, with like even with like Friends. I never watched the Friends TV show, but I remember always seeing that people are like, that's not realistic because that's New York. It's just like a bunch of white people like hanging out.
Yeah.
Like that's not New York. But yeah, but queer representation, I feel like, is getting much better, and like there's moments where I find myself being really envious of people who are, you know, the youth who are growing up and having this type of representation. Now, would I always come back to me wondering if I would have come out sooner had I had this representation. And I mean, ultimately, I'm never going to know, but there are parts of my teenage years where I can pinpoint, like even in Star Trek, there was a character who was played by a species that pretty much it's a host that will latch on to another, it's like a vessel, and they kind of have like a continuous life that is very void of gender. Like they don't like they retain all of their memories from their past lives, and people just kind of interact with them kind of fluidly, like, oh, I was friends with your, your host from like three lives ago, and just the interchanging of gender. I remember as a kid at like 13, 14 being like, oh, I identify and I love this character, but I think at the time I didn't really realize why. I just felt like, oh, I really like this character and I really like the way that people interact with them, but I didn't realize it was because of how I felt about gender. So I don't know. But I think the way that people talk about queer issues and stories now, maybe they're more fleshed out, and it would have helped to put those feelings with more concrete realization of like why I identified so closely with the character.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know. I've spent many years watching TV and looking to see something that was never there. You really had to. Watching TV in the 80s, if there was a gay character, it was always a man, and gay cis men, and he was always the victim or the clown or the funny friend who was the comedy spot. But there was no way to see anything close to normalcy, not just two people living together and having a normal life. That didn't exist. I don't know. It was especially children TV, children's shows or shows for teens.
I feel like growing up, for me, I feel like there was probably a lot more queer baiting in media because people weren't either allowed or comfortable showing that to children. Like their excuse was like, think of the children. But yeah, you definitely see a more progress now where you actively see characters and they tell you, oh, they're queer in this way. They're either bi or they're lesbian or they're gay or whatever. Now you're starting to see trans people coming into the media. I'm not sure if I've seen any non-binary personally, but I know there are some. And like even did you guys ever watch, or well, what's it called? That's So Raven.
I've heard of it. I never watched it.
Okay, so it's
That's So Raven.
It's a Disney show. They rebooted it sort of recently, where it's basically the same character, but it's it's following her kids, right? In one of a more recent season, she moves back to San Francisco, and she hires an assistant to help her with her clothing business that she's starting up, and it's a trans woman. Like they don't actively say, oh, this person's trans. They just have this character in there, but like it's an openly trans woman, and they have her in the show on Disney Channel. So I mean, like, you see that sort of progress, and it's pretty cool.
There's this I don't remember, Stories of San Francisco or something like that on Netflix. It's about
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I'm not sure what the name is, but I watched the last season, and there was all kinds of representation. I find it beautifully, always based on the concept of chosen family and people who come together. I really love it. This representation was non-binary people, trans men, trans women, and all kind. I loved it. I would have loved to have something like that growing up around me. I'm always very jealous when I see people in their teens having this kind of groups or friend groups, because I really miss that, and I would have loved to have something like that.
Yeah, I think if for me, if I had stuff like that growing up, I would have come to terms with my queerness sooner. I don't think I would have come out sooner because of my situation here, but I mean, I definitely would have felt more comfortable a lot sooner than.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing. Tell us about a situation that made you feel safe in your identity.
First Pride Parade I was in, I think.
You were in a pride parade?
Yeah, Madrid.
What were you doing?
Years ago.
Just because I'm just here, I'm queer, or were you representing like a
No,
company,
just
or
seeing so many
Oh,
people
it-
around. No, it felt.
But do you mean like you were in the parade or you went to the parade?
In Spain is different. Everyone
Oh.
walked with the parade.
Oh, that's fun.
You know, it's
Okay.
not. It's not like you are just standing outside and watching you walk with the
Oh,
parade.
okay. Cool.
So for me, I think the absolute safest I felt in my identity was literally last year at Vancouver Pride. Do you remember when I was telling you about it and I was like so happy? I don't think I've ever found a space where I felt so safe and like didn't feel like I needed to hold it back in any way. It's not like I like it's not like I'm very I don't know the word, like in your face about it with like my family or anything or my friends, but there's just something about being around other queer folk where you just feel so comfortable in like your authentic self than you are with like family and friends that you grew up with who might not understand that.
I just keep thinking about like, because in my 20s when I came out and then I started, going out and going out to the clubs and stuff like that, like I felt instantly safe in queer bars and queer clubs versus when I've gone to like dances when I was in high school and like gone to events, when I was still identifying as a straight person. Like there was always something that made me feel really awkward about it. And I think it's probably because straight folks tend to get really dressed up for their night out. And obviously, heteronormativity, me being assigned female at birth, it was like, oh, you need to like dress, feminine and all this stuff and whatever. And always felt like I'm having fun, but then I'm like not fully enjoying myself.
Yeah, I can relate.
Totally. Yeah, me too.
And so going out to these queer clubs and pretty much just being able to just present as myself and being able to actually like, I always felt like, oh, I don't really like dancing. And I think it was just the reality that I don't like dancing in like what I'm wearing and around and being in the environment that I was being put into. But when you go into these queer spaces, like you're just able to just let loose and be yourself, and they're playing really good music too. So like,
Aw, big hugs. That was cute. The both of you, your stories. I want to be in a pride parade. Do you know that I forget where in the world they have like this giant banner flag, pride flag that they like. It's like a mile long, and like people just show up and they just walk down the streets with it. And that's their pride parade.
Doesn't it tour around? There is this wall pride that happens every year in a different city, and I think this huge flag travels with the war pride. I'm not sure. I think I've seen it in a couple of parades. Yeah.
I don't know about that. Sounds fun.
I've been to a World Pride, but I don't feel like there was anything really different than another pride that I've been
Where?
to.
Where were you in War Pride?
I was in London.
Oh.
Name a queer stereotype within 5 seconds. Whoever runs out of answers first. Straight.
Oh, this is hard. I'm gonna steal the U-Haul one from you.
Oh, that's unfair. All gay men are decorators. I don't know.
Are what?
Decorators?
Are good at fashion. Good at fashion.
Oh, okay.
I would say snapbacks are pretty big. Tells.
I would say the butch femme relationship thing.
Oh yeah.
Like a butch needs to be with a femme.
Yeah.
That queer people are obsessed with sex is a stereotype.
Yeah. What about like the gay best friend? Does that count?
Oh,
That's
but that's I don't know.
I'm gonna say that gay men have a gay voice.
It's my turn. I don't know. I'm blocked.
Drink.
Plaid.
Drink.
Plaid. How do you
plaid.
pronounce that? Plaid.
What about women's sports? Something about queer ladies always being good at sports.
I'm gonna say I don't know. I'm sure I'll have more later. Do you feel like you've truly found yourself?
This is a deep question, huh? I'm gonna say no.
No.
I'm also gonna say no.
Wow. Do we explain or just move on? Do we drink to that? Cheers.
If you want to explain, if you have an answer of why you haven't found yourself.
I think I'm still trying to figure it out.
Because I don't know, because I never felt really free to explore who I am. And therefore I will never get to know myself completely.
I feel the same.
Because it doesn't exist, the society where you really can feel free to explore yourself. Not yet. For me.
I think for me it's more so that I've been in one relationship. We're coming up on our 10th year anniversary next week. So I never really had a chance to explore anything other than this. So that's part of it.
I think for me, because I'm still deconstructing things that I feel like I've shunned as a youth, and I'm trying to analyze and reclaim some of those parts that I feel like could be part of my identity. Like, I'm trying to dissect what has society caused me to feel shame about, and because of that I've pushed it away, versus genuinely feeling like that's not part of who I am. And then as like in my queerness, I feel like I know 1,000% that I am queer, and like this is the space that like makes me feel most authentic. But in terms of my gender identity, it's still such a new avenue for me, even though like I mean, like I've only like really started to confidently present as non-binary over the last like 5 years. So I just don't feel like I've really explored that part of myself as much, versus knowing that I am attracted to more than just the opposite sex and the same sex and, you know, all that stuff. Like, I know, like, 1,000%, like, yeah, that's who I am. But
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you, like, your preferred pronouns are obviously they, them, but, like, do you care if people...
My chosen pronouns are they, them.
Not preferred, your chosen pronouns. But do you care if someone uses he, him at all? Does that bother you?
No.
But would it bother someone... It bothers you if people mistake you for she, her?
Undecided.
Okay. Just curious.
Before I really started feeling more towards using they, them, and more in the realization that I'm non-binary, I was more annoyed with the interactions that I would have when someone would say sir, he, him, or whatever, and then I start talking to them, and then they make this whole big deal. And I'm just like, I'm just here, I need to ask you a question. Like, I didn't want this interaction. that part of it is more annoying to me than the pronoun being used.
Okay.
Most likely to post memes as a way of coming out.
As a way of coming out, that seems like such a newer thing.
Jay is
Out of the
master of memes.
out of the three of us, probably me. I use a lot of
Yeah.
gifs and memes.
I would say Nessa.
But
I'm very private about my my life.
You are.
But I thought it was more about the way of communication that
I definitely I'll burst your bubble. I did not post a meme when I came out.
yeah.
No, me neither. That seems like such a like 10-year-old thing to do. Like I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm the one out of the three of us that uses memes the most, I think.
Drink.
Hey, that's my first drink all episode.
Yay.
Like
You need to get Nessa out more. Never see live music again, or never sit in a park with your friends again.
Oh, never. What was the
Never sit in a park with your friends again.
Oh no!
I have to choose live music because I can't even go right now. For personal reasons.
Friends in park.
You're gonna give up sitting in the park with your friends.
It's
so Nessa's gonna be in the park, and me and Elena are going to a music festival.
Yeah, it sucks. I have for personal health reasons, I can't go to live shows at the moment. So, peaceful, quiet park.
What is your favorite part about being queer?
It's fun. How do you answer
Getting to know, you know what? Getting to know people like you.
Aww.
Finding the community.
So
No, really. Because I can't find any particular advantage in my life, in my everyday life. It's just getting to know people from so different places and feel joy because of being queer. You know, it's that bond. I love that bond. Yeah.
I don't want to follow that up, so I'm not answering this question.
I mean, just realizing who you are and not having to feel so lost anymore.
Yeah, I guess to go off of what you guys are saying, we'll keep it wholesome. Queer people, the ones that I've met, have been the least judgmental people I've met. So you don't really like. We discussed this earlier. You don't have to hide any part of yourself. Like, people will just accept you as your whole self. Like, no judgments.
Date someone with the same name as you.
No.
Or date someone who looks eerily similar to you.
Neither. Can't do either.
Say name.
I'm dating
If
someone
I
with the
have to
same
choose,
name.
say name.
I can't choose. I can't choose. That's weird.
There were so many Elenas in my. That wouldn't be weird.
No, it's
Could
weird.
probably happen.
Can you skip me?
No.
Answer this one. It's weird. Oh.
You're on a cliff. You have to decide.
I will fall. It's weird either way. Like, it's like I'm talking to myself when I'm talking to this person, or it's like I'm looking at myself.
No, because a name doesn't make how the people. But okay, to decide.
I can't.
Imagine trying to make out with yourself, and then you'll have the answer for this question.
Yeah.
Are you okay with making out with yourself? We're gonna learn all about Nessa today.
Maybe it'll be a way for me to start loving myself more.
That has another name.
Okay, fine.
Where's your mirror in that room? She's just like, I love you, Nessa.
Fine, I'll go with the name thing. Put it like that.
Interesting.
What are your biggest red flags when dating?
I can't answer this one.
Possession. When people try to possess someone.
Possess?
When people try to own you and people treat you as if you were just a possession of someone. You know what I mean? Not possession means like
Controlling.
demonic possession, but
basically, are you saying trying to like control because they feel like your property?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
That's
That's
a good one.
the biggest red flag for me.
My biggest red flag is someone who doesn't really have a life of their own.
Yeah, big one.
I don't know. Like, I haven't really done this dating thing before.
Drink.
Well, what is something that you're like, oh no, we wouldn't be like think of it like as friends. Like, who's someone you're not going to be friends with?
Someone who doesn't have a sense of humor.
Okay, so you're laughing and someone's just staring at you. That's probably a big red
Like,
flag.
what are you
But
doing?
you're not gonna. This relationship isn't gonna go anywhere because you're not laughing. Drink if you've ever woken up covered in glitter.
No, I haven't.
No.
Come on, Elena, drink.
No.
I know you have.
I would have loved to, but no. Sad.
Can't say I've been covered in glitter. Can't say.
Next.
Oh, whew. What was your coming out experience like? How did your friends and family react?
We're getting into this right now. This is the last card then. Who wants to go first?
I think I would rather have lighter questions.
We'll go in alphabetical order.
Going once, going twice.
Do you want to go?
I don't mind sharing.
I don't either. Does Elena want to share? We can skip you if you don't want to.
It's complicated.
Oh, it's fine.
Coming out to my friends was very, for the most part, 95% positive, because by then I was already like my circle at the time had queer people in it, and it was just kind of like, hey, I'm with you guys, and they're like, cool. My sister was like, cool. My mom, I messaged her about it because she was in the Philippines and I didn't want to do the whole like schedule time to talk to her over Skype and make this whole big thing about it. So I just like told her over Facebook Messenger, and in her weird way of saying that she's happy for me, she pretty much just said, you know, she was worried about me for a while because I hadn't been in a relationship with someone, and she just is pretty much saying that she's happy that I found somebody. And like the next time I was in the Bay Area, I brought my girlfriend at the time with me, and we went out to dinner with my mom and my Lola. So for the most part, yeah, it was pretty positive, minus a couple of friends that I lost along the way because they just couldn't get around that. But for the most part, I think my experience was very positive.
Okay. Mine's was not super positive. Coming out to my friends, everyone I came out to was super supportive. I was actually very nervous the first friend I came out to because she's very religious. And I remember having a conversation with her one time when I was still questioning, or I was very, very oblivious and in denial. And she said something. Someone had asked her, like, what do you think about gay people or like homosexuality? And she said something about like, I don't really believe in it because that's against my religion, blah, blah, blah. So I remember replaying that in my head, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come out to her because this is something I'm discovering. I was really close with her at the time, and I was scared, but I told her over text, and she was like, oh, that's okay. I don't care. I was like, oh, all right. It went great. And then little by little, I was starting to come out to more friends, and there were some who were like, oh, finally you you came to terms with it. Like, we all knew. Like, oh, thanks. With my parents is a completely different story though. So I've kind of touched on this before, but my parents are immigrants from El Salvador. They grew up in a more conservative life, very religious, Catholic. And so my mom, I remember her coming in and asking me questions one time, and I don't know why. My older sibling had already come out at this time, and she just started prying and asking me, and I was not ready to come out, and so I kind of pushed it off till the next day. She came asking questions again, and she seemed really upset about something, and I was like, you're not gonna like the answer I'm gonna give you, like. And she was like, what does that mean? And she kept prying and prying, and I'm like, well, I'm not straight. And she was like, what does that mean? And I was like, well, I'm queer. Like, I don't know, I don't have a label for it, I just know that I don't just like men. And so she freaked out and said a lot of hurtful things at the time, and she went and held this in for I don't know how many months. But I guess my youngest brother had also come out to her, which is why she came asking me questions. And around this time, my other brother, who is also younger than me, came out to me. So all four of us are queer. And my mom, I think, found out around the same time about three of us. And so it was a lot for her, because it's completely different from the way she grew up. And I don't know how many months later she was suffocating with this. Like, she had no one to talk to. She was keeping it from my dad, and she ended up coming out to my dad for the rest of us without asking us. I wasn't prepared. Like, they went out, and when they came back, my dad just was so angry, and he didn't even look at me and didn't acknowledge me for an entire month. And it was really hard, because it's like I didn't choose this. I don't know what to do. Like, this happened 10-ish years ago now. And like, I just want to say, like, my parents have put in a lot of work. We have a great relationship now, and like, you know, they're like my best friends outside of my actual friends. But it took a long time and a lot of work on their part to like be able to talk about things and be comfortable about it. But yeah, that's my coming out story.
I can say something I've noticed from the time I started to have it clear. I remember when I was 16 or 17, I talked with a friend of mine and told her I think I like her, another friend of mine. And that was my first experience coming out. For this friend saying to me, don't ever tell her, she will never understand it. And I never did, no. And I lost that friend too, when I came out too. And then, as the years passed by, it was always easier with my friends. My friends know most of them. I came out to most of them, and they are okay with it. I never had another negative reaction. With my parents, it's complicated, because I never actually came out to them. It's like they know, or my mom knew, but we never talk about it. And it was partly because I've been with a man for 20 years and never had a really long relationship with a woman. So I always thought, well, if I ever date a woman for a long time, then I will come to them, but that never happened. So, and you know, this thing, the more you wait, the more difficult it is to speak about it, because then you have to explain why you didn't talk before. No, and it's like, just, I don't know. Now I regret it, because my mom died 6 months ago, and I would have liked to talk with her, and I know she would have no problems at all with it. I know it would have never been a problem with her, because I know my parents. But that's why I don't like to talk about it, because it will always stay something I deeply regret. Especially my mom. My dad is another category of human being.
Big
Well,
hugs.
thank you for sharing that part of it.
Should we end on a positive note?
Okay. Okay. We'll end on drink if you walk faster than an average heterosexual.
Sorry again. That I didn't understand that.
Drink if you walk faster than the average heterosexual.
Walk. I walk.
Yeah. Do you walk fast? I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Depends if I'm alone or
I
not.
could. I'll outwalk them.
Drink.
If I'm
I
alone.
walk so fast.
Okay, that's it. We're good. That is our queer episode.
Happy
If
Pride.
It got deep. It was fun. There was drinks.
I still have
And
beer.
I'm feeling a little warm.
Warm and fuzzy because of the great conversation.
Most likely to have a sugar parent. Elena.
Thank you.
I hope you find them.
I was the sugar mama for a while here. It was me walking.
From your
and
sugar
paying.
parent?
No, I was the one paying.
You were the
for
sugar
rent.
parent.
Yeah.
Well, maybe your kids can help you out and pay it forward.
I want to be a sugar grandma.
What does this mean?
No. I want to live off the money of my children. When I retire, I don't want to think about money at all. Just
Okay. That's our episode for today. You made it this far. Thank you for joining us.
What a weird note to end it
we'll
on.
And we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Bye.
bye.